This may look a little gross in the test, but that's what happens when we get out of position. Watch this. Watch the scenario here. You are in the car driving with pastor. Your license is revoked. Driving under the influence of drugs and you have no insurance. You're going the maximum speed your car will do. You lose control of the car and have a head-on collision. Being out of position, you should be driving by drunk or drugged. You shouldn't be driving without insurance, and you shouldn't be driving without proper license. You got too quiet. Being out of position can get you killed. And those you hit head on, and those that are riding with you. Here you have people riding along with you, trusting you to get them where you are. Too many of you are out of position trying to lead people. And if you are out of position, you are operating illegal in the kingdom. So that means the people that are following you, the people that you are leading, you are now driving in the spirit realm of authority, operating outside of a realm, on a realm that God has predestined for you not to be, but to be in the place He called you and positioned in the place He's ordained you, but yet and still you're operating like Saul. Saul, the reason he fell at being Jerusalem's first king is because somebody spoke to him before he was ordained as a king and said, "Is not Saul Kish, the son of Kish, now a prophet?" See, he couldn't be king because he kept acting like a prophet. Many of you can't be who God called you to be because church told you if you wasn't going to be a preacher, if you didn't work usher, if you wasn't on the choir, if you didn't do a deacon, then there wasn't no position for you in the church. So you try to find 4 or 5 things that the church told you you can be, or Sunday school teacher, and you try to be one of those, and nobody told you you didn't want. God help us here. See, you have to understand, Nehemiah wasn't a prophet. He was not an apostle. He wasn't a pastor. He wasn't even a preacher. But Nehemiah was anointed by God to administrate. When you understand how to administrate, you can articulate and facilitate the will of God, not only concerning your life, but the kingdom's life. I wish I had some help up in here. See, you got to understand. Touch somebody and tell them, listen, I may not be what you position me to be, but I am a visionary. What is a visionary? If you're a man of your house, a woman of your house, that makes you a visionary. You ought to have vision for your family. You ought to have vision for your money. You ought to have vision for your business. You ought to have vision for your son. Vision for your daughter. And not only have a vision, but we got to help articulate what the vision is, how to execute it. God help us here now. Nehemiah went to Jerusalem. He was an administrator. He understood how to build. He was an architect. He understood how to read blueprints. He understood how to build masterpieces. I don't need your title. You don't need to tell me I'm great such and such. All I need to know is all well in the kingdom. Tell somebody to tell him it's all well in the kingdom. See, when he gets to now Jerusalem, he begins to vision and facilitate what it is vision do. He turns around. He put people in the right place because Jerusalem is the place to be in that season. Then he turns around and finds the people. Put them in the right position. When you're in the right place of season and you're in the right position, whatever you set your heart to do, all is well. Touch somebody and tell them, who are you? Are you in your right place? Touch somebody and tell them, how many believe this ministry has been assigned for your life? It is the right place for you. Let me see, you ought to jump up like popcorn and say, I know I'm in the right place. I know I got a right vision in. I know I got a good view. If you know that, now we need to find your position. Don't be running around trying to be what somebody tell you ought to be. Because you know 3 scriptures. That don't mean you need to be reverent. That don't mean you need to be taught. That simply means you need to know who you are. God help us here now. Nehemiah said, I'm not going where I'm not positioned to go. If I go where I'm not positioned to be, I not only kill my destiny, I kill the people's destiny that's tied to my life. How many times, Chris, do you want to know people got behind me and say, you need to do this. God called you to do this. God told you to do this. And they try to push me in a position. I locked them. And I said, I ain't going to move. The God tell me to move. I ain't going to do the God tell me to do. Somebody ought to pray, God. Thank God. Father, you see, you put 7 minutes in my punch and finish. Tell somebody, say, find your position. Being out of position, you might as well be out of place. Because you want to be more. You don't want to do